hello. I'm getting really exaggerated, but welcome to Flair, your podcast with myself, Lozy, with Masenko and Wes. Fortunately, House isn't with us this evening. Solace is also at work because, you know, many of us have those unfortunate things called jobs. But hello, welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Well, you're normally the one who hosts, so I feel quite privileged that I'm the one who's technically hosting this evening.
We're all
kind of hosting, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of topics to go over.
Yes.
So we just recently had our election, which was a very interesting one. A lot of issues with it in terms of the electoral board and their ability to calculate the correct results. There was the whole issues with seats being given up afterwards, and the fact that we were having people running for multiple positions. We can get into that a little bit later, sort of a preview of some of the different topics. But yeah, let's just dive right in. What are some general thoughts that you guys had about the election?
Well, I mean, I think the election, you know, all in all, could we say anything was surprising? Initially, like when we look at the final results, is there anything surprising? There's not really.
Honestly,
go on.
I didn't think Ninja was really gonna do anything. I guess he was an alternative. I wasn't expecting him to actually get two things.
But then, by the time the whole issue, as I say, we're going to get into this in a little bit as well. By the time the whole issue with Ninja and Pig, what they've done, which, as I say, as Masenko hinted, we'll explain in a little bit. By the time they'd finished, and by the time they'd given out their positions that they were elected, you know, it's kind of gone to a situation where, you know, we've got people in places, and honestly it hasn't, I don't think the people haven't changed that much. I mean, take for example the DSP roster. You know, I've still been elected governor of Rome. Sirocco and Galton are still our councillors. Eternal and Cataline are our legislators. Now Real Fail has now joined them, who is a new person. He's been around for, you know, he's only joined this term, so congratulations on Real Fail in, you know, being brought into the ledge. Just like to say, on stream now, we're currently, you know, doing what we normally do, where we have the game playing in the background. I must admit, Senko, your quality was really bad that week. At 360p. But yeah, Colonial Augusta, Cume has just been renamed Colonia Augusta. Yeah, we might get into that in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think, you know, with the elections, they haven't really changed that much, in all honesty.
Well, legislature got slightly bigger, so a lot of the parties scaled.
Yeah. Well, DSP and DVP still had 3. They had 3 last time, if I'm not mistaken.
Also, we had a bit of a shift in the council. One, I took over Priest's next role.
Yeah.
Which isn't too much of a change, because Priest is kind of low priority. But we also had Sirocco going for Diplomat instead of Artisan.
Yes.
And then, of course, Ninja gave his seat to
Indy,
who took Artisan now.
In for a second and correct you, and this is no fault of yours, because there were just so many different weird things about calculating the election results that happened.
Yeah.
But Ninja got the leg seat.
Yeah, it's Pig who got.
After the recounts.
Yeah.
The Pig got the council seat.
Yeah, I've been making the same mistake all week. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, I was looking at it here.
Yeah, no, I've been making the same mistake all week.
Who had both?
Either way, it happened.
And then before that, Pig had gotten it. There was just a couple weird recount things.
Yeah.
There was some issue with votes being casted for me, I think, because I was added on slightly.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. At the time, I was, you know, I'm, you know, we're still quite chill and everything. At the time, I got really angry because for me, you know, looked at the results, you had Pig and Ninja got it, and according to the results, you hadn't even got a vote. And I was like, okay, then I was like,
know that's wrong.
yeah, but I was like, okay. I was
I
like,
obviously voted for myself.
I was like, okay, well, something's happened here. And then out of nowhere, you suddenly came in. I was like, what the hell's happened here? And all that sort of stuff. That was just because I was mainly angry at Pig and Ninja. Do we want to just explain what's going on? Because I feel like a lot of people might be a little bit like, well, what are they alluding at? Should we just explain now?
Essentially, what happened was, and it's kind of interesting that they each only got one seat, but essentially we had a couple of justices who, by their philosophy, which we could go into as well, decided that there was a loophole with the Constitution where people could hold multiple seats, or at least it was debatable whether they could hold multiple positions in government.
Oh shit.
And there was also no restrictions on to running for multiple positions in government. So what did they do? Well, they decided to run for every single position, which, of course, sparked a whole lot of controversy.
2 seconds. I'd like to apologise to Stream. I realised I've just been streaming a black screen. It wasn't doing the YouTube, so I do apologise. We now have the YouTubes up. I do apologise. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
But essentially, so they ran for every position. Election results, which had some issues as well between the electoral board and moderation, in terms of just a lack of being able to communicate due to specific people being not online at the right times to help each other out.
I think what was happening there was we were trying to do it at like 4 in the morning and rush it. We just didn't want to wait for espresso.
Anyway, aside from that, yeah, we could definitely talk about that too. I think that's a huge issue that we need to address. But in terms of they won seats that they didn't necessarily want.
The thing was,
expecting to win.
No.
They weren't expecting to win, but they said that in the event that they did win, they would give up their seats, which they did. But there's some debatable ethics behind this whole situation that really, I think, the community should address and recognize.
Well, this is something that I'm very much advocating for at the moment. Go on.
No, you can go.
So obviously, as you say, they basically realised there's an issue with the Constitution. The word user, when it came to election, wasn't defined enough, and both Pig and Ninja had said that they had tried speaking to Ledge, had tried to get this changed, tried to look at it so they could sort it out. But the issue was nobody was really taking them seriously. So they were like, well, they were saying that nothing was happening. So they felt the only way to get it sorted was to take proper action and cause outrage to get action, which they did. And immediately, as soon as everybody had seen that they were running for every single position, as soon as the Discord had blown up with people going, well, hang on, isn't this illegal? People going, actually, no, technically it's not. Matty, one of the legislators, immediately put forward an amendment that meant that you couldn't run for more than one position, as well as it's always been illegal that you couldn't hold more than one position, but it wasn't defined that you couldn't run for more than one position. So they got what they wanted in the end. But then, what we're saying about this questionable ethics, particularly in my eyes, I'm new to Democraciv with Mark III. Came in before it started, managed to form the DSP, and we've gone from there. And one of the goals was always to get more people involved. Now, the way that me and Pig over Discord have had discussions, borderline arguments, it's not been at each other. It's just been at the systems that are in place, and it just seems to be at each other. But the thing is Pig gave his seat to Indy, as we discussed. Now, Indy wasn't on the ballot because he was eligible to be on the ballot because he hadn't answered a question from the question thread. Now, again, there's stuff here that needs clarifying because yourself, Wes, you answered a question from the thread in Discord, several days.
I answered one in Discord. I also
I answered
a not really question It was like clarification. Technically, it does count.
Yeah, and then you answered one, I think it was, according to Solace, 8 minutes before the election ballot was opened.
Maddie came up to me and was like, "Yo, you have an answer."
So, and the thing was, as well, what you did was not eligible. Technically, what Indy hadn't done by not answering had made him eligible. Now, in my eyes, that means he shouldn't really be given a position on the council, but due to the way that, the constitution is...
Considering it's not at all to do with the candidacy, it's just giving it to him.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and, as kind of both party platform and morals, that, for me, seems very iffy. And I think there's a few people who, might actually agree with me. Now, then it brings in, well, what's the solution? And at the moment, we're working on a solution that certain people might not want to see, which is by-elections. So, I haven't been here for by-elections, because obviously they've not been a thing since Mark III, so does somebody else want to explain, the issues that surround them?
Go ahead, Wes. If you want to. I can do it if you want.
Ether, is that what you're trying to say?
Sorry, you cut out there, Wes.
When someone resigns, there's an election for the position.
Yes.
Instead of them, pointing it.
Yeah.
I think it's a very bad idea. Because there's gonna be lower turnout, unless there's a big bunch of them, even then. It's not needed, because we already have a system in place. If you're trying to do it through a bill, it's gonna be most likely unconstitutional. Unless it's giving them the option to, which is
Well, we want to make it an amendment rather than a bill.
I don't think it should be an amendment. I think the system as it is fine. It doesn't have to go to the thing. Because what if, halfway through some term, they really can't stay with it, but, they're a legislature. And obviously it should just go to their party. But they're not the major party. They're 2 or 3. So they're gonna lose the by-election.
My
but
opinion
it
is
should still go to the party.
the by-election system might work if we had longer terms, in my opinion.
That could definitely work. If we had longer.
The issue here was not that... The issue here was that these people ran for positions that they didn't want. So, in my opinion, and this is not and I don't necessarily think that the by-election system is a bad idea. I think it could work under the right circumstances, and if done correctly, because we technically do have sort of by-elections that happen for governors for new cities.
Special elections. I don't really call them by.
Right, but they're in between, sort of, inserting themselves into odd places when there aren't usually elections going on.
It'd be an awesome fix for that. Just let the governor who built the settler control it until the next election. That's such a great idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, let's do that. With a settler about to be settled at the beginning of this thing. But wait, no, that doesn't. What? So you give it to them for the whole term?
The point is that instead of making it so that we have by-elections every time someone wants to give up their seat, we look at the source of the problem and we want to instead disincentivize people from running for positions they don't actually want just for the sake of running for them. Which I think can be accomplished.
I think the first thing we should do is not let them run for 5 positions. Because obviously they don't want all 5, because they can't take all 5. I believe that was already an amendment, though. Correct?
Amendment passed. So now we're stuck with you have to run for 1 position at a time.
How is that going to be abused, though? If it's just the 1?
I don't know. I mean, the point that Uthred's making is that if they're running for an election seat, they can just give it up to anybody they want, regardless of who it is, regardless of whether or not that person has the democratic support of the people. Which, yes and no, I think there's a lot to, ethically that's a good point. This is someone that wasn't elected, and then they're just getting a free seat, right? and in the case of Indy, he didn't get a, I mean, regardless of whether or not he was the correct candidate, looking at the circumstances, he didn't follow the rules. He wasn't allowed a seat ultimately, but he got the seat anyway. It feels a little weird, it doesn't feel right. But when it comes to, I just totally lost my train of thought. Comes to the giving up of seats, perhaps there could be more in place to sort of make it more democratic. That's what Uthred's sort of working on with this whole by-election idea, but we can also make the argument that there is you've elected this person, right? And in a sense, by electing that person, you give them the trust to make that decision to see if they were to step down, that they could make the right choice to pick someone in their stead.
I'm gonna cut into you, Masinko.
Go ahead.
If you think your candidate is going to just resign and give it to someone, don't vote for them. This should be a problem for the electorate. If they run a regular campaign and act like they're gonna keep it, and then don't and just give it to someone else who right away.
Yeah, but this is the thing. There's a lot of. That's understandable, but this is my view, and this is why I'm trying to get it in place. There's a lot of ifs, buts, and there is a lot of ifs and buts, which is, well, if they are running for this, they should be doing it for the long haul, and if they're not, well, then why are you voting for them? But as I said, it could happen is candidate A, runs a regular campaign, okay, or sorry, candidate A wishes to be in the council, say, for example, but they know that they're not particularly liked in the community, or they've had a bad couple of terms or whatever, so they don't feel that they're going to win. Then what happens is candidate B goes, oh, you know what, I'll run and I'll resign, and then you can get the position. Okay, I mean, obviously everyone's going to think, the way you think morally, well, that's dodgy, why would people do that? But it's just, with a by-election system, in my eyes, you prevent that. You kind of stop that from happening. I understand.
Yeah, but do we really want 2 elections right after each other?
Well, I feel that if
discourage it, but still.
Well, the thing is by-elections, even in real life, generally have a lower turnout, and obviously that might be the same. But
it's not good, and it's not needed, because this isn't going to happen a lot. If it does happen, they're going to get hounded. It's not going to look good for them, their party, anyone.
I'd say by-elections could be good.
I mean,
really
what we also want to do.
You said earlier it was situational, and we're not in the situation where we need it. We would have to have much.
Yeah.
Well, see, I argue that we are. I genuinely argue that we are, because I feel that the fact that positions were given to people who weren't even on the ballot list, weren't eligible. I know that Pig. I know Ninja said, "Oh, are you just saying or Pig was like, well, are you just angry because basically Shadow was the 3rd pick for council for DSP, and he came last overall, and everyone was like, Pig was saying, well, you're just angry because you're saying it should be someone who is eligible, so therefore it would have gone to him. No, it's not that. But the fact that it went to Indy, in my eyes, who was completely ineligible for the election, basically, for me, looks at the Constitution and kind of says...
You're looking at something that's completely irrelevant.
Well, no, because I don't think it is, because in my eyes...
You don't have to be eligible to run in the election to be eligible to get someone a seat when they resign.
But the fact that it happened immediately...
You're just trying to put that there.
But no, the fact that it happened immediately afterwards, okay?
We knew it was going to happen immediately afterwards.
Yeah, so
I don't think anyone expected him to give it to Shadow.
I think that, Uthred, both of you have good legitimate points. The legal argument is that it is perfectly legitimate. Legally, it is perfectly legitimate for Indy Jacob to have received that seat.
Mm-hmm.
Legally.
Yeah.
Morally, it's questionable, right? I mean,
morally, I don't think Ninja should have been running in the first place, because that's a horrible way to go around it. You were saying earlier that it stirred up all this stuff, but they can do it just as easily themselves and say, hey guys, everyone can run for all these positions. We should probably fix that. And that's going to do enough.
I have a question, or maybe a proposal. Maybe a proposal, if you guys would be. How would you feel, instead of interrupting the have this by-election, which it could work, could maybe not. It's debatable. What about like a confirmation process instead, where someone picks for the new seat and they go through some sort of confirmation process similar to like Supreme Court justices being confirmed? I don't know. Maybe. What do you guys think of that?
It depends on how you go about it, because it would definitely discourage the, running and then instantly giving it up after you are reelected, because no one's going to let you do that. But I feel like, say, DSP does this, like halfway through their term, like say, Uthred, you resign, you give it to Shadow. And DVP has like a slight majority with like the Green Party. And they just really don't want Shadow in Rome. So they just completely cockblock you. Would that be fair? It really wouldn't.
Yeah, but that's then why I'd prefer, say, in my eyes, the direct diplomacy approach, which would be the by-election. Therefore, the current governor is stepping down. This is the person you elected. Therefore, it is you, the people's responsibility, and
Well, I actually kind of have an issue because now that I think about it, there's an issue with just letting anybody run. Because if someone truly has to resign from their position and they are part of a minor party, if there's an election where anybody can run, it is more likely to go to a major party than a minor.
It's going to go to one of the two major parties.
Exactly,
unless
and that's
everyone else
sort of an issue, because now we're going into the issue of overrepresentation, where people can somewhat abuse that system in order to get more seats for their major party, whereas it should have maybe gone to another minor party.
And then you see more over-representation, under-representation.
I can understand where that argument's coming from, but in my eyes, it's that reason of why have people resigned in the past? Okay, the only resignations we've had have been presidential resignations, which was solace to you, and then before that was Arthur to House.
So what happened with Arthur was he wouldn't do it. He was
and then
other real life stuff. That's been in pretty much every resignation in democracy history. You can't do it.
So and then the one with Pig and Ninja was because they were trying to make a point. They made their point, and they were like, well, we didn't want the positions anyway. Now, in my eyes...
There was also Five Color, and unlike Bob, who couldn't do their positions in the legislature anymore, there was Time Walker / One Nation, who was just trolling, resigned for whatever reasons he has. Nobody really knows. There was also Fish Schnitzel, who resigned from the Supreme Court. Now, many of those that I just mentioned, other than One Nation, were all because they couldn't do it anymore, because they just truly did not have the time to do it. Now, think about if this were, and we're lucky this wasn't the case for DVP, but if you think about, for instance, be like Probably G, or now Herr Knochenbruch of the Pirate Party.
Yeah.
If they had resigned because they couldn't do it anymore, for instance, now this seat is almost certainly going to go to a major party through a by-election.
But is there not a choice but is there not the choice to abstain in this election? Therefore, if people truly... This is what I'm saying. People, when the election is then brought up, I understand there are these issues, and this is stuff we're going to work out. We haven't got it's not like we have the final...
Well, how are you going to work that out? Because if you don't...
Well, in all honesty, I don't see the issue with it. I can see where you're coming from, okay, and I can see that you think that, you're arguing that, well, it benefits the larger parties, but that's not the reason we're doing it. We're not doing it to benefit the large parties. If it is people who generally can't make it, then, they're going to be dropping out of Democraciv anyway. When it comes around to the next load of elections, they're going to be dropping out of that. It's... For me, I mean,
Doesn't the successor
I
can't?
think
That's
that
not very
that's
good.
debatable. That's definitely debatable. I mean, the thing is
And this is
my
something that's the same when we go on. Sorry.
my main
The-
issue is that this now the party that they were part of suffers, and I hate, and I mean, like, I really just don't like punishing people for not being able to partake.
Because
the
then
way
they
that
feel
they
bad
thought they
for
would
it.
be able to. Yeah,
Also,
and it's just
the goal
it just-
the goal of democracy is to basically have a perfect, representation rate. So no underrepresentation, no overrepresentation. This will be pretty big into the, underrepresentation for a party. When, say, a legislature from the Green Party resigns and it gets eaten up by a DPP.
Well, why don't you change it? Okay, why don't you then? This is a solution possibly. Instead of you vote because at the moment you technically vote legislative votes and stuff generally go on the person. Okay, perhaps not so much the party, for example. Okay, so it helps independence and things like that. Then why don't you have a system where you just do the votes for the party. So when it comes to legislative votes and council votes, you go right. You've got the Green Party, you've got DSP, DVP, etc., etc., NO, etc. Then the votes are totaled, and then you look at the election process, and you go right. Well, there's 33%. Well, proportional representation in a way. 33% of the votes go to DVP, another 33% go to the DSP. The rest is then split equally among the rest of the people. Therefore, at this point, that means that the DVP get 3, the DSP get 3, another party gets 2, and then everyone else gets 1. Then it's up to the parties to put their person forward. Now, if a party is going to be sensible when it comes to their, campaigning before the election and stuff, they would tell people who they want as their, candidates. So, yes, you're voting for the party, but we wish to put this, and this, this person in. So for the DSP, we want to put Eternal in, we want to put Catline in, we want to put Real Fail in. And then, you try and emphasise why to vote for the DSP, and you're not then voting for people. You're voting, again, for parties. So then when you get to this small situation where you have...
The whole reason we're voting for people, it's basically voting for parties, and then also at the same time voting for the person in the party you want to be at most, so that it kind of it decides who gets that seat first. So then you're just taking out that system, it sounds like.
I'm just saying that's a possible solution. Therefore, it means that the DSP and DVP can't put 3 extra candidates when the Green Party can only put 1 for one legislate that comes up in a by-election. The party can only put themselves forward, and therefore they can only win 1 seat. So therefore, if people, see where I'm coming with this, that's the suggestion.
Not at all. It sounds very...
it sounds a little complicated, a little weird to me, but I can see that we're getting somewhere with this, and we realize how complicated the issue is.
But I just feel, for me, the reason I'm trying to bring this up, and as I see, we've still got a little bit of time, we want to work this over. We've got 4 weeks until, the amendment would come up in, because it won't happen until the next election anyway, more than likely. So we'd have to work it out. And obviously you can see what we're thinking about. And it means it gives us time. We personally, in the DSP, this is what I want to do, is I want to have a party conference where, we set out what we want to do over the next couple of terms, but particularly, making bills and making amendments. And then, as you said, Masenko, before we started recording, you want to do the Rome conference where you get a load of parties together and we have discussion about things like this. And I'd like to bring it up in front of all the different parties, get a cross-party, consensus on this, weigh up the pros and cons, and look at it. I just feel the reason I brought this up is I just feel that picking a successor is an undemocratic way of doing it, in my eyes.
Well, if you think about it, it's like, say I want to pick a successor. You guys voted for me, you trusted me, okay.
Yeah, but we trusted you to do the job.
I trust this person to do what I was doing, how I was doing it. Good. I do like the idea, if we're going to have any change to the system, of a confirmation thing. But we got to make sure the system is so that it can't be abused to stop a rival party from getting his
I also feel that there should be some sort of system that allows the electorate to,
get involved.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because if it's someone that comes through that the electorate really don't like, but say you go to the council, but the council has a majority.
Perhaps during the confirmation, if citizens want to put forward a, like referendum or something, or they petition to say we don't want this guy to take this guy's position, then that can be heard, and then we could have a sort of referendum. 50% of people say they don't want him. You have to pick someone else.
Yeah, but why not then just cut that and just do a by-election instead?
It's easier, first of all.
Is it?
It's simpler, and it doesn't always have to happen because neither does a by-election. It's not always with someone.
Maybe.
Candidate.
I think we've exhausted.
Yeah, I was saying we should probably.
I think we know where we stand on this. We can keep. Obviously, I think we'll keep talking about this. It's a very good topic for the community to pick up. But we've seen some very good contrasting opinions right here on the stream, and I think that eventually we'll come to some sort of solution, whatever it may be. But anyway, let's
should we talk about what's going on the stream? Because a couple of things have happened since we've had our discussion. I mean, we've been having that discussion for half an hour. So Rome has just finally built its second settler. Third settler, second settler since I've been governor. And this is,
What city will that be?
Pardon?
Do we know? Do we know the name of that?
Arretium, I think.
Okay.
Don't quote me. It could be. So, or it could be Neapolis. It could be. It's loads of cities. It could be. We'll wait and see.
It's going to be Kume again. It should be Kume again.
It might be because the name's changed.
It might be.
Because also, Colonia Augusta now has asked for silver for its We Love the King Day, but there's a slight difference to that. Valletta is now friends with the. Well, we know that Portugal has silver. We know that much. Valletta has become friends with the Songhai. How do we feel about that?
I think they quickly lose. I think they quickly lose their status with them.
Where are we planning on settling with that?
I think we're planning to settle in between Cardiff and Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, we're heading towards that tobacco because we need to introduce cancer into our populace.
No, it's only for the rich people.
Ah, right.
Well,
No, it's only for the governor of Rome.
Haha, I see. What are you trying to kill me? But so another talking point, perhaps, is during this week. Well, even today, really. A new party has been formed. Do you want to jump in and talk about the New Blood Party, so to speak?
The New Blood Party, the polar opposites of the Nova Optimates.
Yes, very much so.
But I'm still excited to see what they're about. Here I could just sort of go over their announcement where they essentially, in-game, they like Diplo or scientific victory. They like large population. They like a defensive military. They want friends with all sorts of city-states and whatnot. Their main whole thing is they are, I think, this MK3's, I want to say, third attempt at a direct democracy party. They really striving for the reforming government, empowering the people, trying to weaken the oligarchy that seems to have taken hold of our government, according to them. So it's a very interesting new party. They have a lot of callbacks to the Vox Populi party, which is now gone. But how do we feel about them so far?
Do you want to take the first one, Wes? Because I have a lot to say about them, and I think
I'm sorry. I'm researching stuff.
Okay.
You can.
Someone's just pinged me. Okay. In all honesty, I don't see that much of a difference, and I would like if the the head of the New Blood Party is listening, sorry, they don't really have a leader, do they? They have what they've come out and said is they don't have a party leader. They have a representative to act on behalf of the party between government and the party members. So if that representative, obviously, I would love you to get in touch and whatever and speak with me, because they have very similar aims to the DSP. In game,
Don't have to meet you.
the DSP. Okay. The DSP's primary victory would be either Diplo, culture, or science. 2 seconds. I'm getting pinged. So yeah, Diplo. So apologies for the Facebook ping. Diplo, culture, or science. We try to focus on growth within the cities so that we can then go into production. Although albeit slowly, we are trying to change, the way that elections are done, so it's more fair, more people are involved. So, for me, I'm going to say this as well. I don't know the name of the person who found it, and I'm really sorry. If someone wants to jump in with that, please do.
Just a represent. I think its name is Jalik Labab.
So Jalik Labab, I seen a younger me in it. So when I first came to democracy,
That's so fucking cheesy.
Let me explain, okay, before you say.
It doesn't change that it's fucking cheesy.
Yeah, but still. No, because when I came into Democraciv, I was just like, none of these parties really do what I want to do. So I went out and formed my own, with this great scheme of whatever. And that was before I really got introduced to Democraciv and all the limitations in trying to make changes. It's not easy to make changes to Democraciv. You can do them, but it's not easy.
Unless they're good changes, in which case it's easy.
Even then, I wouldn't say it's the easiest thing to do.
As long as everyone thinks they're good changes.
And
Guys, just a quick pause. It's 12:50 for me right now, and it's supposed to be at 3. It's the podcast, so 2 hours, right?
Sorry,
we have
what was
1
that?
hour, 10 minutes.
Yeah,
It's 5 for me.
Yeah.
It's 5 for you?
It's meant
gonna
to be
at 5 for me.
It's meant to be 10.
Calculated.
Also, we have some guests here, Snack and Pig. I'm not sure if they want to talk. I don't think they do.
Or thanks for listening. Anyway, back to what you were saying, Vithrid. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, so and I do wish them the best of luck. If that's what they want to do, then go ahead. But from experience, I wouldn't say it's the easiest thing to do. They're also a party of new people. That's one of their big selling points. Hence the name New Blood. Well, sorry to burst the bubble, but a lot of DSP members are new people. A lot of
Jesus Christ!
No.
Don't let him use his propaganda against you.
No. I'm not. But it's true though, because if you look over the last. If you look over the last few terms, when new people have joined, there's been a lot of people who've joined, who haven't left, or who've then joined the party, have joined the DSP. Myself, I was new. Eternal was new. Galton was new, and I must admit, some of the LPL, such as Sirocco, Spyro, or even who then joined the DSP, they're not new. And I'm not saying that we are all brand new, but there's similarities, and there's quite a lot of similarities between the parties. But as I say, I wish them the best of luck. They've got their agenda. They want to go ahead with it. So I wish them the best of luck. That's what I'm just saying. I just feel.
So, I'll say the main difference I see with the SP and the New Blood Party, and maybe this is just from my perspective because I seem to be the target of those beliefs, is that there needs to be a sort of tearing down of the, I guess you could call it elites, which obviously the DSP are somewhat populists as well, or socialists, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, yeah, they're socialists; it's in their name, but it really does feel like this party and perhaps. Also, the Black Sun and that huge post that CJRD posted yesterday, these seem to be directly targeting specific ways that the government functions right now, especially as part of the Nova Optimates, which is the elitist party. the de facto elitist party of Democraciv. It feels sort of like a reactionary party in a way.
Yeah.
And so it seems to be all these sort of uprisings going on right now, from my perspective. I don't know what you'd have to say about that, and whether my comparison with your party, or rather your contrast with your party, is correct. But
yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens when it comes to election time with the New Blood Party, because obviously, you know, they formed today for me, so that was after the election and whatnot. So, you know, the DSP, I think you guys would argue as well. Sorry again for the Facebook pain. Someone needs to stop messaging me. I need to log off Facebook. Yeah, but I hope you'd agree. When we've tried to change things, or you know, when we are looking to change things, we're looking to do it from within government. You know, from working with them. Well, this whole by-election thing, you know, we're going to pass it through government via amendments, via an amendment. That means, you know, it has to be signed. People have to go through the whole process. I don't know how these guys are going to do it. I mean, obviously they can only do it constitutionally, which would therefore argue that they have to do it through the government. But you know, it might be in their eyes that because the government or the elites within the government are going to try and block it. Like, you know, this is what I'm saying. It'd be interesting to see how they go about doing this, because at the moment, I can't see what their plan for it is. So that's for me. That's me. I get where the contrast is coming from. I do feel that they are a bit more of a reactionary party. They're almost like the militant wing, in a way, if you were to say. Or a militant version.
Sort of the Tea Party of the Republicans, for instance.
Yeah.
The reaction to Obama, for
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of happening.
There seems to be a similarity in goals, but we'll see if there's a similarity in ways of achieving it.
Yeah, and I feel like it is a hard fight for you and this party to get their goals across, because, and you know, I have no issue with the legitimacy of populism. I think it's a perfectly legitimate way of perfectly legitimate ideology in regards to government. But personally, for optimists, you can tell, I have a very strong belief that this place really only functions well when you have the people who in charge, and you know, but that's just as is the New Blood Party's philosophy, and is.
Do you want to repeat
so
that? Sorry, you've been cutting out a little bit, so if you want to repeat that.
I know this is completely off topic, but Uthrid, you're gonna miss not getting all of these boost stones. Like, damn, there's so many of them.
What's that?
I mean, you're not getting the holy city because you're so like opposed to religion.
I wouldn't say
you're
no.
gonna miss a lot of this stuff.
You say we're opposed to religion.
Exactly.
We're not. We don't prioritize
You don't even want
religion.
religion, so.
Topic for when we get the religion.
Doesn't mean you don't.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. Do you want to repeat? 2 seconds. Do you want to
I'll repeat. Essentially, the argument I'm making is that right now it's very clear that the elites are in power, and I won't deny that. There are a lot of people who are common. You know, like you said, I don't want to say that the DSP are guilty of it either, but they do have the same people that have been in almost 3 terms, especially in the council, where the same people in government who know what they're doing there for good reason, in my opinion. But it's it's going to be a hard-fought battle. It's going to be a hard-fought battle in the future, I think, for these people who want to see such big reforms in government take place, to have a more populist-centric way of doing things. I'm going to be on the opposite side of it. I know that for sure. But I'm curious to see what sort of developments will be made from all these outcries for it.
Yeah, as I say, I think there's similar goals, but it's about how they go about doing it. And you know, obviously it's got to be constitutional, but we'll wait and see how it goes. So
we can kind of shift the topic, I guess.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about religion? I mean, we can.
If you want, I'm currently researching beliefs.
I mean, so I know that we are trying to pass a we're currently drafting in the DSP. I'll let you know, spill the beans, a religious bill.
I believe it is called the Politics and Religion Act.
Yes, that's the one. The general gist of it, Real Fail is working on this. Real Fail, since he's come into the party, has been non-stop. I'm so glad he's got into the legislature. I feel that, you know, he is a new person, but I feel that, you know, the Ledge have got such a fantastic person here, no matter what party he's part of, because he's so willing to work on things. Him and Fem have been working really hard with House in Antium, in the Antium government. So, you know, I think it'd be great. But yeah, so basically the bill, the Religion and Politics Act, basically is allowing, you know, free religion, not necessarily in game. So, you know, we'll wait and see how that works. But I think
try and hinder some gameplay abilities here.
No. What we're saying is, we'll see how it goes. But basically, the idea is to stop church from, you know, making an influence on politics, type thing. It probably will just end up being a bit of more of a role. It might be more of a role play bill.
If I was Real, and if I'm talking to Real right now, definitely go for a role play route. Don't try and limit gameplay ability here.
But one thing that might be interesting though is one of the things in the DSP manifesto, and this is where the bill has started to come from, is that, you know, we advocate for free religions. Therefore, we would, you know, not wish to stop various missionaries from around the world coming.
This is a very interesting bill, and I'll tell you why. It does have a very strong air of role-playing with it, because it is very clearly a DSP agenda bill.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue against that. Yeah.
And I think that it has good merits, but I also think that that it could be. I think that there's a lot of interesting. I want to see the final draft of the bill before I you know, make any sort of preliminary judgments. But from what I've seen about the bill, and I'm going to go pull it up just so I can.
I would, but I can't because I've got the.
Essentially, it's saying that it's restating the Constitution in that the citizens have the right to any religion of their choosing. That religions have the right to organize and promote themselves. And that all religions shall be considered equal in the eyes of government. No religion may be sponsored nor opposed by the government in any official form, blah, 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 blah.
So we can't sponsor our own religion?
So, basically, the idea would be...
And we can't oppose having other people come to our religion? Come try and convert our cities?
Before the religious zealot starts...
Don't call me that.
You know, you're a bit of a zealot.
It seems like quite a, you know, thing we shouldn't want.
Well, it's not technically defined. You know, if you want to argue it, it's not technically defined as, you know, it's not defined as gameplay. It could just be, you know, you have the Church of Rome, for example, which is.
Are you saying IRL religion or in-game religion? Is that?
Well, this is the thing. Well, this is something. Me personally, I would like it to be in-game, you know, just allow religions.
So would that?
Because that's the whole thing of religious freedom.
Wanting us to spread a religion.
Like, you know, religious freedom, let it spread naturally. That's how I would see it.
So you wouldn't support the buying of missionaries or anything?
Not necessarily, no.
Jeez, I know.
Okay, so that's not very clear from the bill.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I've just said there about it. It's not clear from the bill. That's my personal opinion. That's not what the bill technically says. The bill is more the way it's made out. So, for example,
that's not the bill enforcing that we don't purchase missionaries.
No.
If you were the priest or whatever, you would pursue policies of just natural spreading of religion.
Yeah. So the bill is more, with the Church of Rome, for example, which has been started by Norham within in-game technically. And it's got its own Discord and things like that. Basically what it is people in government can't use religion as any sort of way to either stop people from getting involved in politics or use it in any way politically. If people want to be part of that religion,
I would like to say that that's not a goal of any current church. And
well, no, but
it's
what it means is
I understand that it's a precaution for the future.
Okay.
I don't want to make it seem like we're already doing that.
No, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but we're just saying, that's why he's put it there. He's just put it there as a precaution. So it means that, say further down the line, there is two separate churches, a Church of Rome and, the Church of Sarlot, for example, when the Sarlot Party was still a thing. You couldn't then, for people in Church of Rome, go, well, he's a Sarlatan, so therefore he's bad. You can't do that. You can't discriminate against someone because of their religion. Everybody's free to choose their religion, and the government respects that. That's basically what it was. That's what the gist of it is. Whether or not people want to interpret that in gameplay is up to them, and as I say, it needs to be more clear. This is something, if you want to speak to Real Fail before it gets completely final drafted and say, look, don't want to do this, blah blah blah, then go ahead. But this is what we're saying. At the moment, it's more roleplay, Discord, kind of within Democraciv, not so much within Civ 5. So that's what it is at the moment.
And I'm starting, and I think this is good in its own sense. I don't necessarily agree or disagree with the bill. I want to see what comes of it first before I make that assumption. But I do really like having, I guess, fake religion or role-playing religion as a big part of the community. Within the community, because I think there's a lot that can be done with it. And I even said this in my platform that I really want to make each of the counselor positions more immersive. And I think having a lot of religion roleplay-esque sort of institutions, especially the Church of Rome being an example of that, I think we could have some very cool things for both the priest and the community to do in terms of religion. And I don't have any strong ideas yet. One thing I was sort of playing around with is having sort of the priest establishing the official religion. We could have some sort of Renaissance era bullshit of constantly changing what the official religion is of the state.
That doesn't sound like
kind of fun.
We want though.
But that could be fun.
I recall that going not very well.
Right, but it breeds conflict. It breeds interesting role playing. It also taking chances and participation and taking sides and whatnot. Sort of, and the religions themselves could sort of start to become their own pseudo parties, right? They could also, you could be part of this party, but you could also be part of this church, right? This church has these sorts of beliefs, and now there's a fight to get the priest, even though maybe the priest itself in game isn't as exciting by itself, but now there's this sort of race to get to the priest position because you want to establish religious dominance over the community. I don't know. These are sort of just ideas swimming around in my head, but I think that the religious topic is very important that we should keep going forward with.
It does start to kind of, as in my mind, it means that it starts to deviate the parties a little bit more. Things like this will start to deviate parties a little more. One of the really good things, it kind of died, but Tiberius was working on the Economic Act, I swear there was some talk about creating in-game wages and currency and things like this. Okay.
That was
Cough, that's me.
Cinco.
Oh, was it you? I do apologise. I know Tabros is doing something with money, and I don't know whether it was to do with
Did the financial
Did you make the budget act?
yeah, the budget act. That was it. But yeah, see, that would be really cool because then it gives something that isn't really in the game, but something that can be working in Democraciv, which gives parties more issues and more things to discuss and argue about, and give people more clear reasons on why. Go on.
What I was going to say is I would like to, in terms of the economic bill, where this very clearly empowers or makes the roles of the treasurer and the governors more immersive. I was just saying that you're completely on the right track. I want to see more bills kind of like that, where you have these sort of sub-institutions where you can have these each counselor or each member of government or just the community in general be able to partake in these institutions and have fun with it and make the whole thing sort of more immersive and tie it somehow into the game, where you can have those institutions either directly affected by the game or the people running the game directly affected by the institutions. Anyway, continue with what you're saying. I didn't mean to interrupt.
So no, it's fine. So I think it's a good step towards creating this balance and this slight difference and change between the parties, because at the moment it's a lot of and you've even said, Wes, you even said it yourself when you posted or someone posted the question, it might be you, for the thread, governors, why you not your other candidates.
That was everyone.
But yeah, everyone does that. And
I were really lackluster.
Yeah, and I said, I have a long-term plan that I want to carry on. You're like, well, you just need a good understanding of Civ to do that. If you had things like, this religious bill, as well as Masenko's economics into the game, tax and things like that, it changes slightly. It changes things, and
I think we're coming to a point that we've met in every single thing where we're just looking for more stuff to talk about when campaigning.
Well, yeah, is that not a bad thing though?
Yeah, but we've brought it up every single podcast.
Oh, have we actually?
Yeah, well, but it's true. But it's a good point, and I think it could be reiterated, but. Yeah, no, we're definitely on the right track to that. And honestly, when this new city is founded, I'm gonna double check to see if I might consider pushing forward with the economic bill. So we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah.
But,
very good.
Anyway,
I'll tell you one thing we haven't done this session was we haven't really talked about the game much. So does anybody want to? Because
there's so much going on.
I know. We've still got. So there's about 13 minutes left of the actual stream. But if there's any points that you want to go back to and talk about, I'll jump back for people on YouTube. So is there anything you majorly want to talk about?
I mean, we could go to the topic of.
Sorry, I need to just do one thing. I apologise for people who are about to see things. Also, don't follow me on Steam.
I don't know. I think.
Okay.
Well, we have the priest on the line. What are you looking at in terms of?
I'm very sorry. What was the question?
Beliefs. What are you looking at in terms of beliefs so far?
Actually, during this, I've been kind of studying the lists on the wiki, and talking with, ex-priest Sneck and VP extraordinaire Charlie Zulu, trying to break down the list a bit more. It'll probably come out soon. Stay tuned.
Any like in-game sort of aspects that you're looking for in terms
sort of focusing towards, the best ones, like in theory, just like the most yield, some of the good production ones, science ones, food ones, just kind of broad. I'm not trying to go super into faith, but I picked some, I think.
Okay. I know that the the religion in Vox Populi itself has structured the beliefs in a very interesting way.
Charlie actually just posted my shortlist in the Nova Optimus chat. So, I think you're in that one.
Got it. Excellent. Okay, well, there you go. But anyhow, anything you wanted to bring up, Uthred?
What do we expect to, we're about to go, obviously time of recording, this is probably mainly for stream viewers rather than perhaps podcast listeners, but we're about to go into term 3, first session of term 3. What are we expecting to happen in this term? What do we see happening over the next 4 weeks? Or what would we want to see happen over the next 4 weeks?
Whew. I am thinking we're going to be seeing I am predicting a battle coming, a war.
With whom?
Between the electoral board and Espresso, in terms of retrieving the right to have access to government, to individual records, such that the board can perform their elections properly and independently. And I think that keep an eye out on developments for that. I work very closely with Solus, and I'm not going to speak for him, but he's having some issues personally with this whole situation, and yeah, so keep an eye out for that. Other than that, I don't know.
14 in Legion, right? So it's gonna be about 25 turns till Legion.
Yeah, I think we'll be seeing a religion soon. That'll be good. Hopefully
Well, currently
we'll
on
see
stream,
what happens, but
yeah, it's turn 112, and stream is telling us we get a great profit in 25 turns, so by the time you get to 114, it'll be 27 turns, so by the time you get to 114, when the session ends, this session that we're currently talking about, which we haven't really talked about, but yeah, it would be 25, yes.
And then I think what we'll be expecting is I'm going to sit down with Uthred included, some of the governors, and work together to try and build a standing army during my term, so that we can be prepared in the case that Songhai decides to be a dick again.
Did
Yes, sir.
Norham give you a build list?
No, but he gave me a proxy list.
I get that because I'm going to be proxying.
Don't think he gave me a build list.
Oh, okay. I'll just have to look.
No, but he's right online, so you can just ask him. Hopefully.
So, we've had some more interactions this session, I think. Both Portugal and Celts. Celts quite like us now. What do we think of that? Do we think that's a good thing? Well, I mean, we could talk about the conspiracy theory that Masenko himself is a Celt.
Either way.
Not a conspiracy.
For the record, I really do enjoy the Celts. They're good people. We should leave them alone.
This dude is one of the Pontifexes, and I don't like it.
But yeah,
Druidism is a religion.
So what do we think about, the Celts, who we do know where Cardiff is, and it is quite close to us, or close to Antium, so
Oh, see, right now we're selling iron to them. I don't like that.
We are.
Iron to them. Did we end up doing that?
We did.
I don't think we sold iron.
Oh, I think we did. I can
iron.
skip forward a little bit and see what we finally agreed on. We agreed on, the stream is telling us 64 gold, 5 gold per turn, silk, and 2 iron. Sorry, so they gave us 64 gold, plus 5 gold turn. We gave them silk and iron in return.
2 iron.
The 2 iron.
Yeah.
That's 3.
No, it's
Is it 2 or
2.
3?
It's 2.
It's 2.
Yeah,
but
we won't be
have
building
4
5
more.
legions anytime soon.
Yeah, we have 4 more. So I mean, I guess it's okay. It was a good deal, honestly. They gave us a lot of
4
gold
legions
for
is
it.
pretty good.
Plus, also that 5 gold a turn. I mean, that was something Galton was pushing for. That really stabilised our economy.
So I mean, honestly, I think the Celts so far, they're good partners to have, and frankly, I don't know. I don't really know where our relationship with them are going to go. I know a lot of people feel like they pose a threat, and maybe a lot of people feel like that we want to go into them. Yeah, we did go over this last podcast, but just to reiterate,
they are a threat, but not currently, and they can be helpful, so we're friending them. Is what we came to.
I personally think that if there was going to be religious war, it would be with the Celts. It would be because we don't like the fact that they have a religion and they're just right next to us.
Oh yeah.
I will tell you right now, the DSP would be advocating that war. If it was a religious war,
it would probably be for a city, to be honest, but it would be a side effect.
Yeah, we would be like,
they are competing religion.
I will tell you this now: Catalan has got, or Mate Villar has got anti-war posters ready to go if needs be. If we feel that if we feel that the Casus Belli is not valid, we would not.
How many legislators are there currently?
About that, yeah.
So it's a lot of legislators. But anyway, I'm of the opinion that Celts are cool. Not just because I'm a filthy Celt, but also because we're getting a lot from them. And I think that having a friend on our border is better than having an enemy on our border for most cases. But and also considering that we have Songhai to worry about for most of the time, it's just unpredictable.
I think we should be going
I don't think
first.
it's going to be. I do too.
I also think we're going for Budapest. Are you going for Budapest? Or do you want to
potentially.
We'll keep it.
We'll see what happens.
I condone it as Pontifex Maximus and priest.
You condone it or you support it?
Both.
Because condoning is I condone your actions.
I do both. Okay.
Okay.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
Very complicated individual.
So you also I don't know if you guys want to bring it up, but talking about the stream, something slightly different is you guys are talking about doing the Panem X Circuses decision.
We love the King Day.
Free We Love the King Day.
I didn't think we did it.
I thought because
I don't think we did it.
We discussed about it.
There's a lot of bonuses you can get to a great.
Well, because the thing was everyone was talking about the use of the magistrate. It wasn't so much the gold; it was the magistrate itself. Whether or not we do it. Now, Rome is currently building a scrivener's office.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so we have one magistrate left. You get one every era. I think is the rule with Vox Populi, plus certain buildings can give you them as well. Well, Rome is currently building the scrivener's office, which would give us magistrates as much as many other bonuses. So, could we perhaps see events?
I'll correct you there. Magistrates and diplomats are different. Magistrates only are involved with the events or decisions. Sorry. Diplomats have to do with getting influence with city-states.
I never said anything about diplomats.
Which is what the Scrivener's Office does.
I thought Scrivener's Office gave you magistrates as well.
Nope, it gives you...
Oh, well, never mind. But do you think we'll see...
But there is a judiciary court.
And that one does.
Which gives you 3 magistrates and 1 magistrate for every era once you build it.
Yeah, so what we're thinking about, do we think we're going to see more decisions being made over the next couple of terms? In the next couple of weeks? What do we
maybe.
think? Because I feel like the We Loved King Day one is very powerful. You get it for 20 turns. So what I think I said at the time was, well, why not save it for the first turn for a long session?
If I was you, I would be maximizing faith production so we can get that religion out as fast as possible. Just micromanaging. We Love the King Days may or may not get faith. I don't get that.
We Love the King Day gives you growth, plus 25% growth. I think it also might give you some production. No, it's just 25% growth. Sorry, it's golden age that uses production,
Okay.
which actually we're not far off a golden age, according to Stream. Let me just have a look. 2 seconds.
So yeah, looks like we got a little bit longer.
Yeah, we're actually. I can't see how much happiness we're making because I think Indy gave up our last silk last time to the Celts, because I know we were trading some to Portugal, I think.
Yeah.
And now we're trading the other one we have to the Celts, so we're not getting that +4 happiness from silk. So make with that what you do. So the actual session itself, the video of the session is coming to a close. Is there anything you guys want to keep talking about? Because I can obviously repeat the video, or do we want to cut this a little bit shorter this week? What do you guys want to do?
Did we go full in-depth into the the election results? Like, do you want to just run down everything?
Yeah, do we want to do that? I can hit this back to, I'll let it...
I can do it real fast if you want.
I don't mind, we can take our time over it. I'll let it cycle. We normally do 2 hours for this anyway, so I'm down with that.
Yeah, go ahead
So,
and go over the results.
Governor of Rome, pretty much unopposed. Pig technically ran, but he wasn't going to win. Congratulations, Lozzie.
I would like to point out here that there's only one S in my name. It's currently being spelled with 2 S's. Yeah, it's currently being spelled with 2
Can I just
S's.
tell you low S Y? Would that work?
No.
Lowest SC.
Then you
Apologies
got,
to Stream.
Governor of Amtium, Arthur won by a pretty decent margin. Governor of the city previously known as Kume.
Sorry. I can't take that seriously without thinking of Prince.
That's the point.
Okay. More memes. The memes have restarted.
Exactly. President landslide to Masinko. Congratulations on that one. 77.
Thank you, sir.
I think that was the first time that the DSP and the DVP, and for the election for Rome as well,
Well, technically,
that they both came out in
Mine Ass is
support.
with Masinko.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Then for council, pretty big roster here, about 8 people. Vico and Sirocco taking early seats, and then went one to Galton. Then Shadow got knocked out, and then me and Pig got one. Very close margins, though, so you know. Pig obviously ended up giving his seat to Indy Jacob from the Drunk Pirate Party.
Yes, which are now on probation.
Rundown of roles. Vico took Scientist, Sirocco took Diplomat, Galton took Treasurer again, I took Priest, and Indy took Artisan. These are the last one left. Then we go to Legislature. Scroll down a bit. Ninja got a seat. I'm not sure who he gave that to.
Hair
Eric
knock.
decided yet?
Yeah, Hair knock.
Oh, Hair from one of the pirate parties, or the
Wholesome
New
pirate
Blood, or the Black Moon, or something. I don't know.
He's from the wholesome
DV3. DVP got 3 seats, which was Matty Boyo, Tardis, and Voxel, I believe. Green Party got 2 seats, which was Char and I'm guessing Portal. Correct? Am I right there?
Yep. Yeah, it was Portal.
Giovannis got his seat. Congratulations to him. DSP got 3 seats. You want to run that down, Thread?
Yeah, it was Eternal, Cataline / Mike the Liar, and Real Fail. Those are the 3 who got the positions.
And then we got 2 from Drunk Pirate Party. I have no idea who they are. Someone wants to run them down too.
2 from the Drunk Pirate Party made it? I didn't think so.
That's what it says on this election spreadsheet, but I don't think that's true.
Well, we've got all of them. There's Ninja, which gave it to Hair. DVP got 3, GP got 2, Jovanos got 1, DSP got 3, which is 10 seats in total. So
Yeah, that's
okay.
all.
I don't know what I'm looking at here though.
yeah, it was a good election. I mean, it wasn't necessarily as exciting, and I think a lot of
Also,
the excitement
Governors-
got diluted.
President race and no Rome race. There's also a couple amendments that passed. We have Constitutional Amendment, which is something about amendments to the Constitution.
It raises the minimum number of government officials to sign a petition
Yeah.
to get an amendment on the ballot.
It was Solis's way of preventing a DSP or a DVP, overhaul in a way.
Yeah.
Which,
The
fair
criminal
enough.
court was removed. That's good news. International Disputes Court was removed, which is also very good.
Yep.
For some reason, they got a lot more backlash. And then dual mandate amendment, which we've talked about a bit before, stops people from having more than one thing. Fixed an error in words, to be honest.
But it didn't stop
And then
people from
second dual
having
mandate
more than one.
amendment.
It didn't stop people from having more than one thing. Because that was always the case. But it stopped
Well,
people
it fixed the word
running.
user. It fixed the word user. Second dual mandate amendment fixed the running thing.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one made it very explicitly clear, whereas originally it wasn't as clear, that you cannot hold multiple positions in government, and the second one makes it so that you can't run for more positions in government. So those are the results. Thought they were quite, like I said, I thought that the excitement was somewhat diluted by the all the issues that happened about the election.
How do we feel about that? I think that might be a decent talking point. How do we feel? Let's just come out with it. Ninja and Pig, they, did something that was totally legal, caused a lot of uproar, and managed to get what they wanted changed. How do we feel about it?
Well, I think their whole issue is behind us now. I think that we need to look to the future and just, for the record, they fixed what they wanted to fix. We can still talk about, I think that, like we said at the beginning of the podcast, one thing that we can continue talking about is what happens when you give up a seat. But in terms of their goal, they made their goal. They did it, and I think it's a good thing to move on. What really I think we should be talking about is the electoral board and their ability to have access to voter information in order for them to be able to do their job independently of moderation, which is not the case currently. And we ran into some very big issues where not only was Espresso not online to help fix a couple things for a while, and so the information that they had was inaccurate at the time that they were supposed to release the results, which was fixed, which is fine. But then there was also some miscommunication just in general between Solus and Espresso, where Solus thought that certain ballots had been lost, and Solus had announced that if we were to do a recount, that ballots, he wouldn't be able to count those ballots because they were gone due to technical difficulties, and it would essentially change the results of the election, which he had no control over. But it turns out that those ballots weren't lost at all, and he had just been saying for like a day and a half that they had been gone without Espresso letting him know, like clarifying to him that they hadn't been lost and that it was just a miscommunication. So there was just weird bad communication between this issue, and there just needs, in my opinion, there needs to be a solution to this, which I'm sure we'll be seeing in the future, more discussion about it. But yeah, so that's what happened in terms of the election being all fucked up.
Whoa, are we gonna bleep that? Wow, what was I don't think we've ever had a swear.
I've sweared plenty on this show.
Oh,
I think
okay.
we're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Last I checked, I'm still the youngest person here. So.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, I mean, for me, I would like to say, Masenko, that was a very diplomatic answer for the first part. And the second part, I think, it's interesting. I must admit, wasn't really up to speed with the whole issue between the electoral board and moderation. It's an interesting one. I don't quite know how I feel about it, in all honesty. You know, the electoral board is there to run elections, but you know, the moderation has all the information about voters. It does mean that there is voter anonymity. That voters are anonymous. There we go, and that is part of the Constitution, the rights to being anonymous. And obviously, it'd be like this should therefore mean that the electoral board, which they should have been from the start anyway, are cross-party and have no party allegiances. I mean, I know Sirocco, Solace are involved in it, and therefore, DSP and NO, but that doesn't come into consideration when they come to talk about it. But obviously, there's that whole argument: is it open to corruption, etc., etc. Whether it is or not, I don't think it is. But if people have that view, then people have that view. If it means there's less people trying to do it, then and it gets done quicker, okay. But does that mean there's more chances of errors? Perhaps. We'll wait and see. With what
I think the main issue that's being raised is that having the two parties involved of moderation and electoral board just makes it difficult when when they do run into an issue that could be fixed if this person just had the right information, and then we're stuck 2 days with all sorts of random election results being posted that are either inaccurate or incomplete, just because.
So but I haven't seen an election yet that has had that when the results have come out, right, the first time they've come out, they've been correct. Haven't seen one yet.
Really?
Well, I remember I've only been here
the
for...
last one was.
No, because we recounted that the election in Rome actually had me winning by more than one vote.
That was an unofficial recount now.
Yeah, but this is the thing. It was an unofficial one, but it means it wasn't.
The moderation recounted and it was still one vote because I asked him to. It's one vote. Jesus Christ.
Well,
Anyway.
But yeah, I can see where there's an argument for moderation being involved, but I can also see why just allowing the electoral board to do it.
On the other side of the spectrum, I'm not trying to discredit Mod's argument here. That there is a need to protect voter anonymity, and releasing that to the electoral board puts it in the hands of the people, which are more prone to, cheating and releasing that information, just making things difficult in a democratic environment. But we'll see what happens.
That we will.
I'm not gonna go into what my opinions are because I think that could take too long. So, I think we can cut it short, or I think we can end here.
Yeah.
If we're all good.
As I say, it's been very much a case of we've been talking about what's going on in the community more than normally what's going on in the game, because we normally do a bit of both. But it's been so much this week. So much. We have to wait and see. But that means we're all caught up, doesn't it? We're finally up to date.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Oh my god. So what did the religion end on?
25.
20 turns left?
25.
Oh crap.
Yeah.
Pretty decent.
So you got 25 turns until you get a great profit.
Well,
I'm sure
we're probably going to grow. One of our cities is probably going to grow, so it's going to be like 24, and then we're going to have not a fun time sometimes, depending. Don't worry about it.
Well, what happens if we don't get... So this is the question, okay? If we don't get a religion, what is the priest's job? We'd have to wait until we get another religion within...
Dissolve
sit around,
position.
We're going to be stealing a holy city.
Yeah, you'd have to wait for another. You'd have to wait for another religion to come through.
I guess that's why it's the priest's job to get a damn religion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I'm glad we got the goddess of growth or whatever, love.
Yeah,
think
I'd
we should
I'd
do
preferred fertility rights, but hey.
Anyway, so
Anyway,
thank you all for joining us. This has been Flair, your podcast.
I love that name. It's such a good name.
And look forward to the next podcast, which should be pretty soon, considering the session will be starting in less than or a little over 20 minutes.
Yes.
All right.
23
See you guys.
You got a date or something?
I will. Well, yeah. So for those who are watching on stream, we will be taking a quick break, and we will be back in 20 minutes with Masenko leading as president. We don't have to put this on the end of the podcast. We can just cut it before that if you want.
No.
Okay, fine. Anyway, au revoir.
Au revoir.
Fucking French.